Hello, in this video I am going to explain semiconductor laser and applications of laser, which comes under module 4 of VTU syllabus, that is under the chapter lasers. So if you look at semiconductor laser, it is actually considered as gallium arsenide laser. So let us look at the design, how it is made and what are the principles on which it works. So when a diode is forward biased, the holes are injected into the P side and electrons are injected into the N side of the junction. The recombination of holes and electrons takes place within the junction region, resulting radiation. This recombination is actually the transition of electron from conduction band to the valence band. It is the basic mechanism involved in the emission of radiation. If the junction current density is large enough, population inversion takes place between the electron and hole levels, resulting to stimulated emission. So if you look at the construction part, it is a single crystal of gallium arsenide which consists of heavily doped N and P sections. The N section is derived by doping gallium arsenide with tellurium, and the P section is derived by doping gallium arsenide with zinc. So this is what the way of making P and N type. So first, a pair of parallel planes of the crystal is polished at right angles to the PN layer. These planes play the role of reflecting mirrors. The other two sides perpendicular to the junction are roughened in order to suppress the reflections of the photons. Next, so here you can look at the schematic diagram of semiconductor laser. So here the P and N type are connected to the battery, and which is forward bias as shown in the picture. Next, let us concentrate on working part. The energy band diagram of heavily doped PN junction is as shown in picture, and it is unbiased condition. At thermal equilibrium, the Fermi level is uniform across the junction. Because of very high doping on N side, Fermi level is pushed into the conduction band and electrons occupy the portion of the conduction band lying below the Fermi level. On P side, the Fermi level lies within the valence band and holes occupy the portion of the valence band that lies above the Fermi level. When the junction is forward biased, electrons and holes are injected into the junction region in high concentrations. At low forward current, the electron hole recombination results in spontaneous emission of photons and the junction acts as a LED. As the forward current is increased gradually and when it reaches a threshold value, the carrier concentration in the junction region, there will be large concentration of electrons within the band. As a result, condition of population inversion is attained in the narrow region. This narrow zone in which population inversion occurs is called as an active region. At that stage, a photon emitted spontaneously triggers stimulated emission. This stimulated electron hole combination produces coherent radiation. So this is what the phenomena going to happen in case of semiconductor lasers. So in the next slide, you can look at the energy band diagram of semiconductor laser. So here P and N regions are there, and in between P and N there will be a junction, that is what is called PN junction, and electrons transit across the PN junction. So electrons exist in the conduction band of N type, okay, and cross over the junction and reaches the holes which are in the valence band of P type. the difference in energy will be emitted in the form of a photon. So the energy of the photon will be equal to h nu. So that we can look at in the picture how the emission of photons takes place. That is through the p-n junction or through the active media. So next, let us discuss about the application part of semiconductor lasers. So here they are all used in optical communication, and these lasers are used to read devices such as compact discs, etc. And if you look at properties of laser, they are having high directionality. So that means laser emission takes place in only one particular direction. And monochromaticity, that means lasers have a high degree of monochromaticity or having a single wavelength. And high coherence, lasers have high spatial and temporal coherence. Intensity, if you come across, laser beams are highly intense in nature. And focusability, since a laser is highly monochromatic and highly directional, it can be brought to sharp focus by a lens, hence it is said to have high focusability. Next, we can look at one of the application part, that is laser range finder. So laser range finders have numerous applications such as measuring of rooms and buildings in the construction sector, to determine the depth of snow in inaccessible areas, cloud base height for atmospheric study, air pollutant distribution, attitude characterization of space debris, trajectory of aircrafts, satellites, etc. So laser technology is more cost effective. The laser rangefinder uses a laser signal that is transmitted and returned from the target. The time delay or time taken between transition and receipt of the signal is used to determine the distance of the target based on the speed of light. The receiver consists of a reflector, photodetector and amplifier. So here the laser beam is used to determine the exact location of the target. Next, lasers are used in data storage device. So in order to read compact discs, we are going to make use of laser. So in a compact disc, you can see series of microscopic holes known as pits, that they were all formed by burning. Laser light is reflected from the disc surface and is detected by photodiodes. The amount of light received by the diodes varies according to the presence or absence of pits. So in this picture you can look at a CD on which pits are formed, and in a CD ones and zeros are recorded in the form of pits along a spiral track on a plastic material with a metal coating. The total length of the track would be around 6 km here. Any transition from pit to land or land to pit is considered as 1, while the region completely in the land or pit is read as 0. The separation between the tracks is found to be around 1.6 micrometer in compact discs, that is CD, and it is 1.1 micrometer in a DVD, that is digital video disc. The laser beam is focused on the surface of CD. The reflected beam reaches the photodetector and processed. The laser spot should have minimum size. Holographic storage uses entire volume of the recording medium rather than the surface, and hence stores larger data here. So this is what the application of laser in order to read the or retrieve the data from compact discs.